Hey, what's up, guys? Want to welcome you to episode 6 of the Becoming Apex podcast, where we bring on the extraordinary to see what makes them extraordinary. So today we have on William Aguilera, local owner of a super successful business, and we're super fired up to have him on.
Yeah, and some of his sponsors at his business that they sponsor, we got Mark Castro, we got Aaron Banks, we got David Carr, and there's other names out there. What's up, Will? What's going on, man?
What's up, guys? I'm really happy to be here. Thank you for having me on. I'm glad Ernie contacted me, man. It's a second podcast, so I'm kind of nervous, kind of excited.
So how I got him on was our families are pretty close. So I actually had my dad get the in on it. So my dad talked to him and said about getting him on the podcast, gave me the green light, and I was like, hey, Pop, talk to William. I know you're gonna hang out with him this weekend. So
he was a little sneaky about it too. He waited for me to have a couple of drinks before he asked me. So.
He's like, you said yes. He was buzzing, but yeah, man, we're super fired up about having you on. So tell us a little bit about what you got going on right now, and yeah.
Well, we haven't even said the name of the gym, right?
Oh yeah.
We're trying to keep it a little teaser, but it's the Iron Office. If you haven't guessed it yet.
Yeah. So the Iron Office off of Cedar and East. We've been there for a year now. We started in Sanger, and we've kind of evolved into this massive 28,000 square foot gym. If you haven't been there, it's black walls, black equipment, weight everywhere. It's called the Iron Office because obviously there's a lot of iron in there. There's a lot of machines, but dude, the business has evolved into something that like I never thought of. With like you said, the amount of athletes that we have in there, the amount of professional people that we have in there, it's taken over me. You know, we're so excited to share what we have built. But we're also very excited to share, just not just with you guys, but with our athletes. We continue to improve all the time. And honestly, you have to see it for yourself to kind of see.
Yeah, and I do know that the gym isn't like your regular run-of-the-mill gym, right? Like I've heard a lot of people talk about how good of a gym it is, and that's why you have such high caliber people. It's a gym where you have like serious lifters. It's not just your, hey, I want to get a little bit of fitness going on. It's like I really take my fitness journey very serious, and I'm sure that morale that you've kept and how you built it really helps create a culture within it, and that has attracted a lot of people outside of that, right?
Yeah. So the idea started off as a professional gym for the average gym goer. So and that's really what overtook the idea. Like we started it, we put equipment in there, but we didn't really understand that it was going to take on this much. So the equipment that we have is all for professional bodybuilders, professional powerlifters, professional fighters, professional everything. But the majority of our members are not professionals. They're just, they're us. They're me and you. Yeah. You go in there, but you get to use the equipment that the professionals are training on it. So it gives you that boost that, hey, if they're confident in this equipment, if they're confident in the Iron Office, if they're confident in the owners of the Iron Office, then that makes me confident. And that's what we kind of take on.
Yeah, right on. So take us back a couple of years ago, before you started the gym. Like, what were you doing? Like maybe in your early 20s, like what was Will doing during that time?
So my early 20s, so when I was 19, I was in the Army. I was in basic training. A year after that, I was in Afghanistan. So 20 years old in Afghanistan, turned 21 on my leave. I actually got to come home for my birthday for 2 weeks. But after that, I did the Afghanistan thing, came back, did a little bit of school.
Thank you for the service, by the way. I know at that time that was a pretty intense time to be a part of it, man.
Thank you guys, man.
Sure.
Honestly,
yeah.
Thank you.
Like it was a blessing for me. My brother served in the Army as well. He was actually my recruiter because it's kind of funny. But I recruited myself. I contacted him, and he's like, "Hey, man, I don't know if you want to do this," but I was like, "No, you know what? You did it." I feel like it's a great career opportunity. I feel like it's a selfless service thing. So I didn't expect to deploy, to be honest. They said, we'll take care of you. You can go to school off of your service and all this. There is a chance you might deploy. And I said, I'll take that chance. All of my friends went, and we all, it was like a brotherhood. We pretty much moved in together in a big ass tent, and we were just camping out for a little bit over a year. So
that's crazy, man.
But after that, once I came back, like I said, I did a little bit of school, and then I took on some more career opportunities with the Army. I became a career counselor, and a few years after that, that's when I really decided like I want to start my own business. And
let's rewind a little bit back to that. So obviously you were in the military. You talk a little bit about the discipline that you learned in that, because I'm sure that equated over to some of the things that you did moving on from that. Because I think I saw online in one of your clips that you got your master's degree in business, and like it's not easy to go to school and complete school, right? I don't think it's necessary for everybody. I think it's a very, very helpful tool in growth. But talk to us a little bit about like some of the disciplines that you learned with the military that kind of equated to your schooling, and then obviously we'll move forward after that.
So, I mean, the biggest thing that the Army taught me was that there's no quit. Like, it doesn't matter how you feel. It doesn't matter what you're feeling in the moment. It's just, you have to do the mission no matter what it is. And when you say the mission, it kind of sounds like this big eccentric thing that you have to, like, a sense of passion or whatever. But it's just, you could think of the mission as getting up, brushing your teeth, and going to work, you know? So there was just, you have to do it no matter what you think, no matter how you feel. That day has to be done. And it's not something that I think about it. I'm not constantly thinking to myself, I have to do this. It's just ingrained.
Mm-hmm. It's like planting that seed, huh? Like that concept of, doing your bed in the morning, completing something when you first wake up. And once you plant that seed in you, it becomes kind of part of yourself, of your being. And it makes other things a lot easier with everything else.
Yeah, man. Like I can wake up feeling like shit and I'm like, dude, who's gonna do this for me? You know, I have to do it for myself. So, without, I don't know if the Army taught me that or I learned that from my parents or my dad, or because we came from my dad was humble beginnings. He came from El Salvador. My mom came from Mexico. So, it wasn't something that they taught us every day. Like, hey, you have to do this. You have to do this. But we see they set an example for us. And but at the same time, once I got to the Army, people were struggling to kind of catch on to waking up every day and doing this. Like, I don't like waking up in the morning, but if I know somebody's going to be yelling at me or, somebody's going to get on my ass about doing the work, then I'm just going to do it before they yell at me. I'm just going to do it before they have to tell me. So yeah, I don't know where like it picked up on me, but it just stayed there where it doesn't matter what you feel. You got to do the work.
Mm-hmm. So what made you, with education, what made you choose, like, I want to get my master's in business? Like, were you always thinking, I'm going to be a business owner? Was there somebody in your family that put that seed in you, or you just kind of?
So my dad was he was a business owner. He was a car salesman and a mechanic, and he did that all on himself. He was a tow truck driver. He, like, pretty much anything that you could think of that a car needs, he did it. But it wasn't something that he taught me. If anything, I actually kind of hated it. My older brother did it with him. My second oldest brother did it with him. And to me, it was like, oh, I don't want to do that. Like, I see them struggling every day, and they're over there dirty, and they're under the cars in the sun. And I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Dude, I'm trying to get you just wanted to get jacked, huh?
Yeah. So it's funny. I was probably, dude, I graduated from high school 95 pounds. I'm a short guy, but I was 95 pounds. I joined the Army and I was underweight. So they put me on like rations to like make me gain weight because I was so skinny. So like fitness wasn't my passion originally. I picked up fitness when I deployed. I was like, dude, I need to put on some weight because I need to get bigger. Like, I'm going to be out carrying this vest, carrying my gun and all this. And like, I don't know what's going to happen. So I was like, I need to, so I put on like 30 pounds before I deployed.
I'm going to have to get the ration too, man. I'm going to put on some weight.
Get big on.
Yeah. So because of that, like, yeah, I don't know how I started because I didn't want to do what my dad was doing, but I knew that his passion was that, or maybe it wasn't his passion. Maybe his passion was just to take care of the family, and that's the way he did it, And so that's kind of where I'm at now, like where fitness is my passion, but really my ultimate passion is to like continue the legacy of the gym and continue what we have going for the family.
Mm-hmm. So, because I know like we see the hard work growing up, and we're not as intentional about it. I call that just being young and, wanting to like have fun and stuff like that. But then like obviously you made a commitment to the military, and then waking up, now you kind of have to do it. And then you kind of start seeing the benefits of it. And then you can relate it back to what you saw growing up. And now you can be intentional about it. Because sometimes if you don't know what you're doing and why you're doing it, you're just kind of doing it. You know, if you could stop or start or whatever, but now once you start having a little bit of structure and understand the benefit of what it can get you, you can be intentional about the growth associated with that.
Oh, definitely. I made those connections all the time now. Like I said and you said it, back then I didn't understand what my dad was doing. He was working, and to me it was just a job. But looking back, I'm like, oh man, this is like, he probably went through these same steps, and like I can kind of relate to him a lot more of why he wasn't available all the time, or you know. And
Dude, yeah.
to attest to my dad though, he was there all the time because he had his business at home. So if anything, like I don't know how he did it where he was so focused on us and his business. It was kind of crazy, and that's kind of what I'm modeling as a father with my kids.
Yeah, and you get that seed planted because we're given this opportunity now. Considering, you know, me being first generation, you know, Mexican, my parents were born in Mexico, I was born in the U.S. I was given a lot more opportunity now. I seen them working the way that they did growing up, getting those seeds planted and saying, hey, now I'm here, now I'm given this opportunity. Because you were talking about like okay, so there's the military, got out of the military, and then schooling. Where did that come in play? I know that you got the GI Bill, which that was that benefit of that, but you actually completing it is different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's different.
So I when I came back from deployment and I got my GI Bill, I actually wasn't going to school for business. I wanted to be a athletic trainer. So I wanted to be on the side of sidelines of a football field, soccer field, you know, whatever, treating athletes. Because I knew I wanted to be part of a sport, but I knew I wasn't going to be in the sport, you know, like that ship had sailed already. So I did athletic training at Fresno City and Fresno State. But then I had a house, I had bills, I had all this stuff. And I was like, I can't go to school full time, dude. Like I can't do it. So I talked to my professor and I was like, dude, I have to drop out. And I was pretty bummed about leaving that part of it because I really wanted to do something hands-on. But once I did that, I went to Phoenix and I said, okay, at a minimum, I can use my GI Bill and get a degree in business where I can get an idea of where I want to do something in the future. My intent wasn't to use the degree for my business though, because I was still in the Army at the time. So I was just using it as I wanted to have an education that I wouldn't lose, you know, something that I can use to kind of expand my mind, and then kind of take into my career, because I was planning on staying in the Army forever, to be honest.
Yeah. So at this point, when did you realize like, hey, I want to open up my own gym? Because you're living in Sanger, going to school, right? You had your house there.
So no, I was actually
Shout out Sanger.
Yeah, shout out Sanger. That was the first spot where we put the gym. But I actually wasn't living in Sanger at the time.
Okay.
I was living in Oceanside.
Oh dang.
Yeah, so down in San Diego. I was working at the Marine Camp Pendleton base.
Okay.
So I was a career counselor for the Army there, and I put in a request to transfer to Fresno, and they denied it. So I told my sergeant major, I said, hey, like, this is an opportunity that I can do where I can actually have someone run my business for me. I just want to be near it. I knew the position was available, and they still said no. So I was like, I'm going to request to get out then. And they were like, what? I didn't see this coming. And I said, hey, I told you, like, I have this opportunity for me. I know that I can get out of my contract right now. So I put in my request, and I got out. And so I went from living 7 minutes from the beach to coming back to Sanger to open my gym.
Living 7 minutes from
a dirt lot.
Avocado Lake.
Yeah,
that's crazy. But I mean, Sanger has grown. But so while living 7 minutes away from the beach, you spotted an opportunity to open a gym, right?
Yeah.
How did that opportunity come about? Were you actively looking for a gym, or how did that come about?
You know, it's kind of funny because I don't actually remember how I saw it. I know that it was probably in the back of my mind somewhere, and I saw something pop up downtown Sanger that there was a business going out, and there was going to be a vacancy. And so I just randomly it was in the newspaper, so I sent a call, and yeah, the landlord got back to me, and I was like, you know what, this is actually kind of interesting. It might be doable. I didn't really quite understand. Honestly, I had no mentors in the business. I didn't know who was in the fitness community. I had no clue who the athletes were. Like, nothing. I was at zero.
Yeah.
I just worked out.
Great motivation, baby.
At that point, I was just a fitness enthusiast, and I would go to the gym and work out. But I said, this is something that I've done for so long, for myself. I'm very passionate about fitness. I went to maybe 20 different gyms in the time that I was in the army. When I was in Afghanistan, we were in a tent, and so I knew that fitness can take off wherever it is, as long as you have the right motivators, as long as you have the right kind of mindset. You can do it anywhere. You just have to commit to it. And so my goal was to give my mindset to other people. Like, you don't need everything that you see from other gyms. You don't need air conditioning. You don't need a bunch of treadmills. You don't need all these fancy things. You just need to get in there and do the work.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was surprised by how many people really took to that idea.
Yeah. So then contacting the landlord, putting things together, you're kind of just figuring this out on the spot, right?
No, sorry.
No, I just want to know, like, what was it like signing that lease agreement? And then from there, like, what did you, oh shoot, this is real. Now I got to get some equipment. Like, how was that? I just kind of want to hear that part.
Yeah.
Exactly,
So that was actually kind of scary, because once he said, yeah, that's something we can do, I said, oh shit. Like, I wasn't expecting a yes. I wasn't expecting a yes, and I wasn't expecting it so soon. So, I signed the lease agreement, and then Rogue Fitness, they're huge in CrossFit at the time. Now they're huge in like sports in general, yeah. But at the time it was mostly CrossFit stuff. So I set up an order online, and I was like, oof, that's a big number. And so I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna do it. So the scariest part was leaving the army and applying for a loan, because I knew that no matter what, that loan bill was going to come, the lease was going to come, and the army wasn't going to have my back anymore. So I was like, okay, I gotta put all this, I gotta put my name on the dotted line with blood, and you can't take it back after that.
What year was this?
This was 2015.
Dang.
You gotta bet on yourself, man, because that's I mean, I don't know what it would cost. We don't have to talk specific numbers, but I can only imagine a lot of weights, a lot of equipment. It's not cheap. I built my garage gym myself, and that wasn't cheap. So I can only imagine what that number would look like. Multiply that by a lot.
Yeah,
so that's some commitment, man, for sure.
So one thing in business, I mean, when I went on my own, you know, you get a lot of people talking in here like, don't do it. That's too risky. Like, did you have people in your corner telling you that, or were they telling you the opposite? Like, yeah, we got your back. How was that?
I think more people were more neutral. They're kind of, if anything, the people that were telling me no weren't telling me no as in a negative way. They were more concerned about what I was doing and making sure that I was going to be okay. But nobody really kind of gave me any negative vibes about it. Nobody really kind of said that it was a bad idea, except for like the people in other businesses that, because I did meet with somebody about designing my gym, and their idea of a gym was way different than mine, and they pretty much told me that my gym was gonna fail because
Joke's on you.
Yeah. So and to be fair to them, it did fail for like the first 3-4 years, and it just, you know, finally it took off eventually, and that was because we stuck with it. But the idea of that type of gym just wasn't around. It wasn't something that was going to catch on just like that. And I understood that. I understood that bringing something different wasn't going to be, oh, just because it's different, I want to go there. And sure enough, that's how it played out. But
So talk about that though, bro. You said that for 4 years it wasn't going too well. You put a lot of money into it. I mean, I know what it's like to throw a lot of money into your business, like, the only thing that you have is your own ability to make it happen. So it's scary. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So when I planned my business out, I planned a security blanket. So I said, I'm not going to make it for, I gave myself 2 years. I'm not going to make it for 2 years. So I need enough money to plan this out where in those 2 years, no matter what happens, that rent's going to be paid. Mm-hmm. And that was the most important part, right? Because if not, if they lock your doors and you can't get in, nobody can get in, you can't make money. So as long as I had that security blanket, I was okay with myself not making money. So if the equipment was all in there, the rent was paid every month, and you know, members were trickling in here and there, but it was just never profitable for the first 3 or 4 years. We left Sanger, moved to Fresno.
So it wasn't profitable in Sanger?
No, not at all. In Sanger, it was failing miserably. And so we were actually really close to closing our doors in Sanger. So we got to the point where it was either I was going to close the gym or find an alternative. Luckily for me, not so much for the landlord, that building was falling apart, and I was able to escape that lease because he didn't want to repair it. It was so old.
dang.
And so because of it, I found an opportunity to move to Fresno, and we got a warehouse with a meat locker in it. And that was, dude, you walk in there, so janky. It was so bad. But it was, to us at the time, it was beautiful. It was like, dude, this is the spot. Like, we're going to make this happen. And that goes back to what I said, man. Fitness is anywhere. You can be in a tent. You can be in a warehouse with a meat locker in it. And the people that are really committed to it, they're going to make it work.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So moving to Fresno, from there, you kind of just, again, kind of started from scratch a little bit, right? But you have some more experience. You have some equipment. And then from there, what was the vision turning into at that point?
So for a while, even after we moved to Fresno, I was just trying to float. I was trading water for a little bit. We were finally getting to that point where we were breaking even every month. Slowly started making a profit, and then we just kind of every little step that we took, it was like we were taking like a half step at a time. It was like take a step with 2 feet at a time.
Yeah.
But the step to move from Sanger to Fresno, I'm assuming it involved some additional investment to like fill that piece in. So that was like, even because you mentioned you were kind of failing, not doing too well, and then you're like, well, you know what, I'm going to try something different or try something bigger, but you got to throw more money into that.
That was another risk. Yeah. At that point we risked even more just to get to Fresno, where I could have just, the lease was gone. The equipment was partially paid for, so I could have just walked away at that point and be like, you know what, it didn't work.
Have a cool gym in your garage.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But it wasn't even about the profit, to be honest. It was like I just wanted to keep that name going, the Iron Office. Like it was mine. It was something that I felt really passionate about, and I knew that we just needed that one spark, that one catalyst to take us over the top. And I was just waiting for the moment. And eventually it came. It was at a really bad time for everyone else. We had COVID hit. 2020?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we the lockdown happened. All these gyms shut down, and we were kind of fighting it at first. We're like, dude, like we're not gonna shut down. Like we believed in fitness as a health approach for us, at least. Our members believed in the same approach, and so we stayed open for about a month, and city came down, told us we had to shut it down. They gave us a letter, read the letter, and it said there's no indoor operations allowed for any type of business. So I said, indoor operations. Okay. So we have pictures of it too. We set up our gym outside of the building, inside of our parking lot. We put canopies up, and I had all of our equipment outside. And so,
you know what it's like to work out in a tent,
yeah,
bro. So.
Yeah. So, and it was like in the summer, dude. It was, it was hot, 110 degrees, whatever.
Brought Afghanistan to Fresno.
Yeah. So, a lot of people got introduced not only to the idea of the Iron Office, but the idea of what I was pushing, where fitness is anywhere.
I love it, dude. That's yeah. Go ahead,
you can come out here. You can come out here in the sun and work out under a canopy, but if you're passionate about it, you're gonna come. And I kid you not, we went from 200 members to 600 members in a matter of like a couple weeks. It was just ridiculous. So people just wanted to find a space to train. They didn't care about anything else other than going to work out. And we had safety precautions. People were wearing masks. We were spraying the equipment down. And that was one thing that we actually kept from COVID, because I don't know if you guys visit any of the gyms around here, but nobody has like things to spray down the equipment and stuff. You just walk around. If you want to, you wipe it down with your towel or your shirt. But so we started a thing where like we had spray bottles with sanitizer, and like we asked the members to spray the bottles, and we kept that since then. Mm-hmm. We've kept it. It's become like a sanitation thing. Like
well, yeah, bro. I've gone to the gym. Sometimes you just go and there's like sweat right there.
Yeah, they just leave it, and it happens. The gym's a gym. Some people forget. Some people do it on purpose. But it started there, and dude, 600 members became 1,000 members, became 1,200 members, and I was like, COVID was kind of like, the regulations were ramping down, and I said, I talked to my wife, I talked to my friends, I talked to everybody that's involved, our employees. I said, look, this is something that we can continue, or we can just take the money and run, and we'll stay here. Nothing's gonna change. We're gonna stay in this little warehouse and whatever. So we all agreed, no, man, we
Growth.
gotta let's continue the idea. So we went from 5,000 square feet to 12,000 square feet. We had just remodeled the building too, like the inside of the small warehouse, and dude, it just kept growing. And we're like, dude, I can't fit these people in here. I'm gonna have to start asking people to either leave or, like I said, we just stay where we're at, and you know. So we took on that 12,000 square foot warehouse, and people kept coming, dude. And I was like, man, like, what are we doing here? Like, I had to start putting caps on the memberships. Yeah.
Wow.
And so then COVID ended, and I thought, okay, like, you know, this is where we slow down. Nope. It just kept going. After that, like, people had already found the idea. They found the spark. They found what we were really about. And they kept telling their friends. They, you know, word of mouth spread like crazy, and they just kept coming and coming. And we got to the point where at the 12,000 square foot warehouse, we didn't have enough parking space.
Dang.
We didn't have enough parking spaces for everyone, and the landlord was giving us issues. Our neighbors were towing people's cars. It was getting pretty wild there, and I asked the landlord. I was like, "Hey, dude, we have like 2 years on our contract, like our rental agreement. Would you let us out if we found another spot?" And he's pretty much said yeah, because he didn't want us there. He wanted us to leave because we just had too many people. And that's how we ended up at this place. It was like a blessing in disguise. Like, he wanted us out, and we were kind of pressed to find a spot. And we ended up finding a 28,000 square foot warehouse, or not warehouse, but building with over 100 parking spaces. And dude,
Yeah, it's crazy. At that point, I've already heard about your gym, and I live in an area where I don't really have a gym nearby. And I was like, damn, I wish that gym was closer to me. But I just heard from everyone else, like, Iron Office moved, but I'm still going with them. Like, so, like, people followed you from your first location, second location to the third location. And I mean, that's pretty impressive, man, that you created that, like how you said, a culture. And now it's like everybody's gym, right? That goes to your gym.
yeah.
And then also too, like, my sister knows you and she goes to your gym, and it feels like you have a good relationship with your members too. So it's not like this gym owner that just comes and goes, but you're like in there too with them, right?
Yeah, so we're in there every day, and it's not just me; it's my wife and my son. Yeah, so it's a whole family thing. Our friends are our employees are our friends. You know, like, so everybody kind of knows each other. It's gotten to the point where I don't know every member, because a lot of members.
So big, yeah.
Yeah, well, not only that, but it's a 24-hour gym. So people come in at night. They come in like super late, at like 2 in the morning or whatever. They meet with one of our employees, and like, I'll never see them again unless I come at 2 in the morning, or you know. But my employees know everybody, so it's really cool. Like I said, everybody's become like a community. They become friends, and they tell their friend, and their friend comes, and like.
Yeah. No. So one thing I did want to point out is, like, one of those things, like, that's truly like an example of when you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
One, and number two was your passion, man. Like, it's crazy how sometimes you just kind of plant a seed and you water it, and it doesn't grow the way you want it to, and it's not, but you keep going. Before you know it, it's boom. And that's a testament to, like, because it's scary to think sometimes. You worry that, like, if you do something, you might not get an output on it, but like, that's literally showing the passion, the concept, the way that it was different. I can see why it's special. Like, I would see people post, like he was mentioning, would be like, oh, the Iron Office, you know, it's super far from me. At one point I was going to go to your other gym, but it wasn't just because of where I live. But I would see people like, if you ever want to train at like a real gym, this is the gym to go to, and this and that. And I was like, dang, that's different. But hearing that, you can kind of see what that special sauce is, and like that can make a big difference. That's crazy. That's awesome.
So having this bigger gym also created other opportunities for you. You mentioned earlier, like before we got the cameras going, that you got a whole boxing section, right, for Mark Castro.
Yeah. So the gym kind of. Even the first Fresno gym, we had an athlete approach us about training at our place. He just wanted it for strength and conditioning because he was a pro MMA fighter, Jesse James. He reached out and he said, "Hey, we're looking for sponsors." And I said, "Dude, I don't have any money, but I have a gym. So if you want a gym, I can sponsor you. Like, I'll give you a free membership. Come on by." And so it wasn't really something that I was like looking out for. Like, I wasn't intently looking out for to sponsor athletes. So it was kind of humbling, like, hey, people are finding us to like do things like this. And we sponsored him. We sponsored some powerlifters, but once we got to this big building and we had the space and a little bit more funds to be able to provide equipment for athletes, that's when we started getting more people. And so Aaron Banks reached out. And he was training for the Olympia, and he needed a private space to train. And so I said, yeah, come on by, man. We did a photo shoot with him. We talked a little bit. And so he was more of a friend than an athlete, if anything. And from there, it just evolved where he represents us, we represent him. And then same with Mark Castro. I reached out to him, and he said he needed a place to kind of, same thing, little private space to train. And it went from that to making a full-blown boxing gym for him. So him and his dad both train at our facility. He has I think it's 24-foot boxing ring, whatever the standard size is, punching bags, an entire space to do cardio. So pretty much anything that he needs for his training is at our gym now.
Man, that's crazy.
And you guys got like Fresno State, you have the powerlifting team, you got the football team, I think. You guys got a lot of stuff going on, man. Yeah.
Yeah, so Fresno State reached out about sponsoring their athletes, whoever didn't want to train at their facility or needed more equipment, because obviously most schools don't have what a regular gym would have. So we sponsor the Fresno State athletics department. So basketball, football, baseball, their athletes will come to us to train at our facility. The powerlifting team that was started by Roman Pawar. He did a Fresno State powerlifting team, so it's an official club for Fresno State. They actually won first place at University Nationals just a few months ago. Nice. So I take no credit in any of that. These guys all work so hard. And it makes me proud that they're part of our gym and they want to represent us. So like a lot of the times it's not like, hey, like I want you to wear a shirt for me, or I want you to do this. Like I want people to really love what they do and love doing it at our place. And so like the love is so organic, and that's what really makes us the most proud.
I think it's when passion meets passion. You know what I mean? They can see that in you, which is why they want to bring their passion and pretty much collaborate with yours.
Yeah, definitely.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So one thing like I always reflect on when I have, we're in real estate and in real estate investing and mortgages, we do all you learn a lot in the first few years, and then we get to the point where we consider ourselves to be experts in the industry, right? Me looking at you, I would consider you as someone who is an expert now in your field, because you figured it out, the kinks in the beginning, and now you're at where you're at now. Like, what would you tell yourself starting from the beginning, and all those other people who want to start a gym, like what to do in the beginning to kind of obviously keep pushing forward, but what kind of advice would you share with those people?
Well, so here's the thing with me. I don't consider myself an expert, and that's kind of the hard part about doing the business that I do. That I'm always nervous about any decision I make, and rightfully so. It can affect many lives. It can affect our employees, our friends, my family. So I consider myself a newbie every time. Like I'm gonna make a decision and I'm like, okay, I gotta research this again. Like I don't feel that comfortable, or and I feel like that even whether you feel like you're an expert or not, you should treat it like that every time, because you never know that something might change from day 1 to day 10. So when it comes to building a gym or building a business, I don't think there is a secret to it. I think it's just you learn as you go. And if you don't, that's really when you fail, because you're not making those changes. I have a thing that I learned in the Army. We say complacency kills, and it's very very straightforward to say. In the Army, complacency can literally kill you. You're walking around and you're not paying attention, and something happens. But it also is figurative, where if you remain complacent in a business, if you remain complacent at home, you don't think about the situations that can affect you or harm you or take what you have. It can happen to you, and you're never even gonna notice. So every day I try to learn something new, and it's not. I don't mean by like reading or trying to find an expert or anything. I just every day I'm like, what can I change today, or what can I do today? What's gonna help me? What's gonna help someone else? So I feel like if I were to give any advice to someone, like real advice, like do as much research as you can, but go in it head first and just, I say it a lot, just stick to it, commit, because no matter what, no matter how much you can plan, for years, and you start that one day and you'll fail that one day just because you were too hard-headed to change and to adjust.
Yeah, that makes sense. Always be nimble, be ready to pivot and all that, kind of like you did in COVID, right? Like you pivoted and you seized the opportunity when you seen it, but then again, things continue to change. So now here you are again trying to figure things out, like, because you're not staying complacent. That's pretty awesome, man. So at one point did you like wake up and like, man, is this a dream? Like this is crazy.
It was all a dream.
Because like, I mean, it's
every
crazy.
day, bro.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
I wake up every day and I'm like, dude, like, is this real? Like, is it still going? So
Love it, dude.
yeah, because like, I'm kind of a nervous freak too. Like I said, I'm always kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop, and I'm glad it hasn't, and I hope it never does. I don't, knock on wood.
But with your passion, it won't, man. Like, I can see it. And it's because I mean, so am I. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I think we all kind of have like that level of self-doubt. It's called being human, And it's difficult. Like I even said in our earlier episodes, like being on this podcast was difficult for me at the beginning. Actually doing something like this, doing things that are outside of your comfort zone. And then also like doing things without guarantees. It's about just having faith and moving forward.
Yeah.
But like that's where you can't be complacent. It's crazy that you say that, because like in that situation, complacency literally does kill. But in this situation, it can as well. Mm-hmm. Your morale, your way of life, it could be defeating. So it's about pushing the needle forward every single day with whatever you do. And that's one thing that like every morning I may or may not get a good workout, but I got up. You know what I mean? Like I'm in there, I'm training, I'm stretching, I'm doing the little things that I added before that. Get up in the morning, do a little bit of stretching, eat a quick little meal real quick, get it in. And even if it's a shitty workout or a bad workout, I at least got it in.
Yeah, my our gym manager Peter, he's one of my best friends, but he says it jokingly a lot, but he always says little wins, and but
yeah.
it's been part of us too. Like every day you got to take at least one little win, dude. Like whether like you said, whether you got up and stretched or not, just it's something. Just got to pick one thing out of the day to be like, this is something that I did good today, or that I did better than yesterday, or something that I can progress on.
Yeah. So, I mean, you said you had a 14-year-old kid, right? And, son, right?
Yeah.
And he's there working at the gym too?
So he's at school most of the time, but we don't mess with him too much. We yeah, he has really good grades, so we're like, dude, you keep those straight A's. I'm not gonna make you do anything you don't want to do. But so he takes on his own stuff though. So he's a University High straight A student. He's a freshman too, so like he went from full workload and he took it head on. And then on top of that, he does boxing, he does powerlifting, so he competes in powerlifting. Dang. He wants to box, he wants to actually like fight, but we're making take it a little slow on that. But he does that, and then on top of that, all of a sudden he just picked up running, and he's like running 7-10 miles like every other day. I'm like, dude, you need to slow down a little bit, literally.
Yeah. So how does that all tie in as being like a husband, a father with business, like give us your take on how your life with you and your wife, and how's everything been since taking this business to where it's at?
So if anything, I feel like the family part is where I'm lacking a little bit, but I'm very blessed that my wife is very supportive, and she's at the gym with us every day, and so the hard part is not so much that I'm not there, it's just disconnecting, because the business requires so much of attention, and it's not forgiving. The business is not really forgiving. If you miss one call or something that was very important, it can ruin a deal. It can do something going on with a member. Whatever the case may be. It's not very forgiving to the point where we have the luxury to disconnect. And so it's not just me. It's all of us. We all kind of like, it's all conjoined. But luckily that they love the gym too. So they're part of it. My son is there. Like I said, my 2-year-old is at the gym with us. So we don't have daycare. We don't so he's with us all day. We are his daycare essentially.
Yeah.
What he's growing up and seeing all that. Yeah.
Yeah. So the members love him. And it's kind of like that. I always picture like in movies and stuff, like a little kid running under the tables at restaurants, like, so that's kind of like the route that he's going. I mean, he's only 2, but he loves being there. Every morning he gets up, he brushes his teeth, and he's like ready to go to work.
Oh, let's go.
Cool. And so our 14-year-old, he gets out of school, and we take him to the gym after he gets out of school. He does his workout, does some of his homework there, and then same thing.
See, and that's something that because you hear like, oh, William got this gym, kicking ass, taking names. He's passionate about it. He loves it. If you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. But there's the other side of it too. You know what I mean? And I commend you for being not commend you, but like I appreciate you being raw with that, man, for sure.
Yeah, and kind of what you said in the beginning, like your dad working all the time, like you seen him do it, right? And now you're living that same kind of path where I'm grinding. My kids see it. Your 14-year-old, I'm sure he understands. The 2-year-old, he's there hanging out, whatever. But like every now and then I think about that when I'm driving my son to school. He's 4. And I'm like thinking about business, thinking about this deal, thinking about that. And he's in the back like singing, whatever. And then I was like, dude, I remember these trips with my dad too because he was an entrepreneur, multiple businesses and stuff like that. And I'd just be in the back. I'm like, man, my dad's cool. He's taking me to school. All these other kids have to take the bus, But then at the same time, I wouldn't see him until 7, 8, 9, 10 p.m., whatever. Yeah. And he'll always come greet us, go straight to sleep, and he'll be gone before we wake up. So now I'm like, dude, I get it. So when I'm waking up, when I'm putting in work, I think about the foundation he laid for me, and kind of what you're saying too. I relate to that, where it's like, dude, he sacrificed a lot to give us an opportunity. Now it's my turn. So you're really setting up your kids too, and it's pretty amazing to like hear you talk about it and then eventually witness it happen. So
yeah, dude, I love this new trend too, where like fathers are present, and like dude, social media has its downfalls and everything, but if you focus on the positives of it, it shows a lot of that, where it showcases a lot of fathers being active parents, and because that wasn't so much so when especially in like Mexican Hispanic parents, the dad wasn't really like very involved usually, or when they were like kind of aggressive, whatever, and that's not like personal experiences or anything like that, but that's kind of like the culture, the bias, the bias of our culture,
machismo,
and so I really love the trend of like being very active with your kids, and because I do it, and I'm like, dude, it makes me feel good that there's other people doing the same thing, and it gives me that sense of accomplishment that like I'm teaching my son something positive, and like you said, I'm in the car sometimes, and like I'm on my phone, and that's really another hard part of the business, that you're on your phone a lot, and like sometimes he's like calling me, he's like, dad, and I'm like, oh shit, like I forgot, or my wife was like, hey, he's calling, like it's very hard to disconnect from the business, but once I have to try to remind myself, like he's just he just wants to play, but he needs that role of a father like all day.
Yeah, it's true though. I did see some like stats, like the millennial fathers are more involved by a crazy amount. And at first when I was like pushing the stroller, changing the diapers, I'm like, man, I'm not supposed to be doing this. Like that was me being dumb. But then I realized, like, dude, this is making a huge impact on their lives, whether I see it right now or not. But now my son, like, I'm seeing his traits, and I was disciplined when I was younger. It's that Mexican culture. And that's when I knew not to talk back to my dad. I'm like, oh, he's gonna take that belt off, I know. But, I watched my older brothers get disciplined that way. But now I'm like, dude, I'm not trying to do that to my kids. It's different now, this new age. And I agree too, man. It's awesome to see other guys do it too.
Yeah. Agreed, man. Like, I think because there is that concept of being self-employed. There's people will see that and be like, all right, you kind of get to dictate your own schedule. You get to kind of like, if you need to leave early because something has to go down, you can leave. If you need to come to a podcast real quick, you know what I mean? If your supervisor says no, you can't. It's different. You don't have to do all that. So there's some pluses to it, but there's also some negatives. And the negative can be that, yeah, it's cool to be able to like work from home or have flexibility, but it follows you. It goes everywhere with you. So you have to learn how to manage it properly so that it doesn't move over to your family. I remember going to Hawaii and I had my laptop there. I remember we went to Europe, and we were like in France, and like it was like 1 a.m, and I was on the phone because it was daytime over here. So, and it's like I'm across the world and I'm on the phone having to deal with business matters back here. So sometimes we got to kind of look at it like, to where it doesn't impact our family dynamic, and then look into the positives of it. And that, like we were saying, like that father culture that we have going on right now, that we just want to kind of break that cycle and that chain of how it was, and change the narrative, and hopefully for the better.
Yeah. So I want to take us back to Afghanistan. Like, what kind of workouts were you doing out there when you just...
Dude, we were lifting weights, like heavy weights. Yeah, like that's where like I really kind of learned how to lift, because before it was just like I was just going to the gym and I was just working out, hitting the machines, whatever. But I ended up most of my buddies were like bodybuilders or just like these massive jack dudes, so one of my partners was like this 6'3" guy, 240 pounds, and I'm like, dude, I need to go to the gym with you. Like, I don't care. I don't care what you do. I'm just gonna follow you around. And yeah, he showed me all his workouts, and I was doing half the weight that he was, but I was like, dude, I don't care how big you are. I'm gonna eventually catch up to you. Yeah. And sure enough, like we just kept pushing the weight, and but they had all the equipment in there. They had benches, they had dumbbells, they had cable equipment, squat racks, everything, all iron plates. And that's kind of like what my premise was. Like, I want to have like that old school set of equipment, obviously in a new setting. But because of the tent, dude, it was like 120 degrees, no AC, humid in there, like the walls are sweating and stuff. But dude, I was in heaven. I loved it. Like, I looked forward to it. We would walk from our tent to the gym like a mile every day, just to get there, work out for like an hour, 2 hours, go back, and then the next day we'd go on mission and then do it again, Yeah. And then we'd go, like, I was convoy security, so we'd like get in our trucks. I was a gunner. We'd get there, unload our weapons, get into whatever fob we were at, and the first thing we'd do is find food and find the gym.
That's cool, and that's a way to de-stress too, right? Because I'm sure you were going through a lot of stressful situations being in that. I mean, I think we're not necessarily downplaying it, but like we discussed the specifics of them. We don't have to go into that, but like I'm sure it was pretty intense. So, so getting your workout in probably was your piece. You know?
Yeah, that was the highlight of the day. Food and working out. That was usually the highlight of the day. And we'd go on mission and stuff and like disconnect from everything, but then we'd come back and we got to go work out. Yeah.
So what kind of personal fitness goals do you have right now for yourself?
I'm actually competing June 1st. So
really?
We're doing a powerlifting competition. My wife and I, we're doing June 1st. It's called Till Death. It's kind of a take on it's our anniversary that day too. So
that's what's up.
5-year anniversary.
Congrats,
man. Yeah, thank you. And so she chose a name. She chose a date too. So we said, you know what? Like, we're not gonna celebrate. We're not gonna go anywhere else. So let's do this powerlifting meet together. And so she's been hitting it harder than I have, but I can't let her be stronger than me. So so I've been putting in a little bit of work too. So June 1st, this is like what, 4 weeks now? Yeah.
It's coming
right
up.
around the corner.
So you got to put in some work on that.
Yeah, I gotta lift a little bit more. So powerlifting, for anyone that doesn't know, is a squat, bench, and deadlift. So we try to put up as high a number as we can on each of the lifts, and then we get a total. And so hopefully I can put up some weight and I won't get hurt. So
yeah. What out of those three, which one's your favorite workout?
Right now, the squat, man.
I said not deadlift.
yeah, deadlift kind of kicks my ass all the time, but it's deadlift is fun because that one you can really push yourself. Like, you don't have the risk of anything. Bench is just hard. Like once you get to a point where bench, like, you're kind of stalling, it happens to everyone, except if you're Jonathan Keiko. That dude can bench 540 pounds any day of the week. But squat, it's like you put the weight as soon as you get the bar on your back, you feel the weight on you. You feel the stress of it on your shoulders, your lower back, your legs, and your hips, and you start going down, and you just feel like the weight of the world on your shoulders, and you come back up, and you're like, that was great. Let's do it again. Yeah. So squat for sure.
Yeah, nice. What about so with the fitness competition, like, is there a specific goal that you want to hit with numbers, or just it's kind of like?
So I want to hit a 400-pound squat. I don't think I'm gonna get it, but I would like to hit a 300-pound bench. I don't even think I'm close. I'm probably like at 290, maybe 285 if I'm lucky. And my deadlift probably like 460, 470. Yeah.
He's a beast, man. I like the idea because your gym has a lot of very serious gym goers or fitness people. So sometimes it can appear to be kind of like intimidating to that new person that's just getting into fitness. But kind of based on what I'm getting, it creates an atmosphere where, because I work out in my garage and I go to the gym, and it kind of each in my fitness journey, each of them kind of has their place. Like I work in my garage. Sometimes I get a little stagnant. So then I want to hit the gym because you kind of get the vibes of the overall gym. So I could feel like going in there and seeing these people really killing it. And it's like, bro, if I could do half that, I'll be cool. And it seems like you created an environment that people are like, you want some tips? Like I got you, like, I mean, yeah, right.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy because, so powerlifting in general, it's not, I mean, it's very popular now, but it wasn't as popular when we first started. But the more people do it, like the more you see it, because our gym is kind of set up where powerlifting is on one side and then all these machines are on the left side. But they see people back there working out, and like I get surprised still that so many people like randomly be like, hey, when's the next powerlifting meet? I'm thinking about competing. And I'm like, what, really? Like I would have never pictured it. But it's only because they see it, they see it at the gym, and they see people progressing and they make changes. And one thing with powerlifting is that it's not subjective. Like, there's some rules that you can get disqualified on a lift for, whatever, but it's not very subjective. It's either you lifted the weight or not, or you actually, you got stronger or you didn't. And I think that's what people really like about it, that you can track your progress no matter what. Sometimes people get so caught up in their appearance or their body fat or their composition or anything, but with powerlifting, you either get stronger or you didn't, and so people can really progress and really focus on a goal to achieve, and in turn you work on everything else that comes with fitness.
Right. Yeah.
So you've obviously achieved a lot of success with your gym. A lot of good stuff has been happening. You were just talking about how you guys have meets, so you do have events that I think are a little bit different than what you generally see from a gym. It's a lot more, you get to participate, in what's happening. So what's next, man? I mean, you're on your journey. I know you are, and it doesn't seem like you're done. So, I mean, you've achieved a lot of success, but my boy wants to go big.
I mean, we have plans that we're working on, but that's as much as I'm gonna say about that.
Teaser.
But yeah, but
stay tuned.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, I wish I could share it. I wish I could share what we got going on, but there's so much going on. We have a bunch of equipment. We have a bunch of equipment coming for this for our gym right now. So that's one thing that we always do, no matter what. We always try to get something new, whether it's a piece of equipment, a new handle, anything. It just really shows our members that we care about them, and we really do. We want them to have the best. We want them to be able to experience what what they see on social media sometimes, or what they see other athletes using. So we really want to show our appreciation to them by doing that. So I think we have like 6 pieces coming in within the next couple of weeks at our new gym. We're gonna be putting a flooring out in the front of where we're at. And it's gonna make it look like a whole entirely different new space. So hopefully they all love it. But aside from that, it's just the continued grind. Just making sure that everybody is happy.
We'll see what happens, man. You planted a good seed, so
yeah, complacency kills.
Yeah,
that's the moral of the story.
But yeah, man, we're getting close to the end. Truly appreciate hearing your story, seeing your success. I'm excited to see it continue to go. You have a huge impact in the Valley. Obviously, there's a lot of people that go to your gym, talk about your gym, and look forward to whatever the Iron Office has in store. There is a question that Ernesto likes to ask every guest before we leave. Go ahead and ask it, brother.
So last time we surprised people with this, so they're like, bro, really? So I told Will, give him a little bit of time. So what is one question that you would ask what is one question that you would want to ask I forgot.
What's the question that you want people to ask you?
And how would you answer it? Sorry. Yeah, I don't know why I went blank. My bad.
So yeah, I thought about it too, because I was like, man, that's kind of an interesting thing, because I get a lot of questions that are so vague, and like, what's it like to start a gym, or how much does it cost to start a gym? And it's so I think the biggest thing is, what's the driving force behind Like that would be my favorite question, because like we spent pretty much the whole podcast talking about why I do this, and it's not for profit. You know, I would say 90% of gyms aren't going to make the profit that a big corporate gym is going to make. So if somebody were to ask me what I do, why I do it, it's just a passion of leaving this legacy behind of what a gym not should be, but what a gym is to me and what it is to my family and our friends, and that the strength that you can build from it.
Nice. That's a good answer.
Mic drop.
Yeah. So where could people follow you?
The Iron Office Gym, Instagram.
Yeah. Okay. And that's the main, that's where you're at right now, like all social?
That's where, yeah. I mean, we have Facebook, Instagram, we have everything, but the Instagram is our big thing. We post our updates on there. We post some jokes on our stories. Somebody doesn't clean up their weights, we'll put them on blast sometimes. So some people get upset about that, but the majority of the people love it. They like, dude, do this every day. I'm like, you know, I might have to start a whole page just for that, just for people that, like, did you see this person not re-rack his weight? Yeah.
So awesome, man. Hey, bro, well, thank you so much. Literally, I know you're pretty busy, so I really appreciate you coming on, talking to us, and sharing some of your wisdom. And thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you, bro. I really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me on.
For sure.